Hello.
We're live.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Hello. Welcome. Hey. My speaker won't let me be great today, y'all. What's up?
What's up, family?
What's going on? It's December, y'all. My God.
Won't he do it? Praise Jesus.
We made it. We are making it. We are,
absolutely making it.
Yes, we are.
Pushing forward. How y'all doing?
Hey.
I'm doing good, y'all. What's up? How are y'all?
Woo.
Doing well. Doing well. It's Friday of another week.
Hallelujah.
Of pure craziness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we creeping through 2020 though. We almost there. And so, blessings to those that made it, and definitely big love to those that have lost people along the way, man. It's been a real year. Sending y'all love.
It is, and thank you, girl.
Yeah.
It's I haven't really talked about this much on the SIP, and we've actually only done one episode since kind of all this has happened. But I did want to just take a minute to let everybody know like what I'm dealing with on the back end of life, because we are here and we can't ask folks to share their stories if we don't share our stories and how we're coping with things. And so a month ago, from the 8th, it'll almost be a month ago, my father had a massive stroke. And so that's been not fun to deal with. And then he got COVID on top of that. And it's been really freaking difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, it's this year has already been kind of trash regardless. And then so for this to kind of be like that icing on the cake of the end of 2020 has been really hard. So I'm not gonna lie to y'all and act like I'm good, because I'm kind of not good.
Right.
Like, I'm really honest. I'm not actually good. I'm not good. But I'm going to be okay, and I am just praying that my dad can be okay as well. And any strides that he has made that have been positive, I'm happy for that. Amen. And I just ask each of you guys to keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I am a daddy's girl. And so this has been very difficult to be in the situation where you can't see your loved ones and all that. So y'all hold a sister up, okay?
We're praying for you, girl.
We are.
And I know y'all are. And y'all are like the best, for holding me down during all this, and all the folks who have been praying and texting and getting updates. I really appreciate all y'all. So I just want to take a second to say that. So what we sipping on today, y'all?
Wait. But before you move on, though, I mean, it's okay to not be okay. And I hope that, like you were saying, Carrie, it's like we made it to the end of this year. If you're watching this right now, you are surviving this whole pandemic right along with us. So it's okay to be like, listen,
shout out to you. That's real. That's real.
Roller coaster, and we hanging in. So and much
and I think it's okay. Yeah, it's okay not to be okay.
And that's why the sister circle is so important, the check-ins, just leaning on each other, because sometimes it gets crazy, So I hope everybody out there, has people that they can lean on. And thank you for being here and leaning on each other together.
Absolutely.
Listen, phone a friend, child. Don't suffer by yourself. You said lean on.
Listen. That's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta do for each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah, y'all. But
all right now, what you sipping on?
I got that classic peanut butter whiskey tonight. Feeling blessed and highly favored in the Lord. It just hits right. It just hits right. And so I can't go wrong. You know what I'm saying? What y'all sipping on?
I have my Good Morning Sunshine mug, even though it's not morning.
Okay.
But I'm having a little peach ginger and cinnamon tea with a little lemon juice.
Come on now.
It's a nice
that sounds lovely.
That sounds good.
It's a nice calming tea.
I'm having I'm having lemon ginger tea. I wish I could lie to y'all and say I was drinking something because I could use a stimulant today with everything that's going on.
Right.
But no, I'm just having some lemon ginger tea and but I am toasting to signing off and to the end of this crazy week. So
hey, and I hope it's making y'all warm, man. I hope. Cheers.
Right.
Yes, cheers.
Salud.
And really quick, to everybody who's watching, we just want to ask you really quick, if you could start a watch party, that would be really awesome of you. Yes. Because the more people who see us, the more we grow. And that's really what we're trying to do going into 2021. So the way that you would do that, if you don't know, I will absolutely help you, is you can, if you're watching from our page right now, or however you're watching, you just click the share button and then there says start watch party. So you could start your watch party and invite all your friends and family to come in, because today's going to be a really awesome show. We're super excited for our guest today. Cannot wait to share with you all. And let's get into the show.
Yes. No, go ahead. Because I was going to say, as we get into the show, I just wanted to give a shout out to the people that have been supporting it, y'all. So we got 2 new patrons. We have Karen Neville and Juanine Young. We just want to give a shout out to y'all. Thank you so much for helping us make this a reality. So yes, let's go ahead and kick it. I hope y'all are here. Let's kick it together.
Yes,
absolutely. And even though we go live every Friday, guys, you can still head over to your podcast platform of choice to find our episodes, the audio version. And what I would also love is if everyone could head on over to whatever that platform looks like for you and rate us. Give us a rating, give us a comment, subscribe to the podcast. That also helps us to get more visibility, and we would really appreciate the comments. We have so many folks that come in each week after week. We would love to hear your feedback and what you think of the show. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Word.
And I also really quick, and also, yes, what Carrie said, thank you so much to our patrons. But I want to mention really quick, new little partnership that I have with a gourmet cheesecake company here in Aurora, Colorado, called Ed's and Sid's Gourmet Cheesecakes.
Shout out.
I want a cheesecake, right?
Listen.
Okay, tell me more.
I had the opportunity of meeting this amazing woman. She's a playwright with her husband, John. They are activists within the community of Aurora and Denver. And she started a company with her mother-in-law called Ed and Sid's Gourmet Cheesecakes. And they posted something the other day to Facebook. Her husband, John, posted a picture of a cheesecake. And I love me some cheesecake, y'all. I love. 100%. And I just kind of jokingly, I wasn't even joking. I was like, wow, does she sell them? And they were like, yes, we have a company and we would love to make you some cheesecakes and have you taste them and then let us know what they hitting like. And so I just want to tell you a little bit about Ed and Sid's. Ed and Sid's Gourmet Cheesecake, based in Aurora, Colorado, is a woman-owned and operated company. They make specialty cheesecakes in a variety of flavors and are happy to fulfill your custom orders for the holidays. Both bakers have a passion for creating and celebrating exceptional food made with the highest quality ingredients. They are priced at $30 a piece, and they are beautifully presented, and they absolutely are. And I'm going to be posting a picture on my social media so you can see.
How we find them? How we find them?
Yeah, do they have a?
Because I'm over here looking, because you got me salivating.
And I'm going to show y'all a little picture on my phone, but you can go to edandsids.com. It's easy.
Let's post it.
Yeah, let's post that. And you can go there and get you a cheesecake. And
y'all know y'all want some cheesecake.
Y'all know for Christmas.
Right, exactly.
So you can head on over to edandsids.com. They are also on Instagram. Well, no, I just think Instagram is Ed and Sids, the same. So you can head on over and get you a custom cheesecake. And this is a cool partnership to have. I mean, I don't need to be eating cheesecake like that.
The devil is a lie.
But if I'm going to eat a cheesecake, I would like to eat one that looks like this.
All right, come through.
Yes, honey. Listen, do they make vegan cheesecakes? I'm asking.
I don't know. You know what?
Asking for a friend.
Listen, reach out to them, and I'm sure they could definitely make that happen for you. So shout out to Ed and Sids. Thank y'all so much for trusting me with my taste buds for your cheesecake.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes. Well, speaking of, Nick, you had mentioned that we have our podcast and the Apple Podcasts and stuff available, but we also have our YouTube channel too. You can go and watch our past episodes there. Please, you guys, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe there as well. The more that you share this, the more that we're able to the more that you share this, the more that we're able to grow our audience. So we appreciate all of you who have supported us. And if you go and look at our past episodes, you'll see one of our guests is a dear friend of ours, Jo Foke, and she just released her new single, Count.
Yes,
and so we had to shout our girl out. Go to jofoke.com and listen to her new single. It is available on all platforms. I believe just 2 weeks ago, she released it as a pre-order. It is a dope song about like when you feel like your good isn't good enough and how you can just count it all joy. And she's such an inspiration and such a beautiful singer. So we just wanted to shout her out. Yep. Congratulations on your new single, sis.
Spend that dollar. Don't stop playing. Spend the dollar.
Right. Spend the dollar.
And that's all I'm going to say. Hallelujah.
Mm-hmm. And all of that. Okay. Super dope. Okay, guys. Awesome. So I have a BA in this week.
Oh, I knew it was coming. I knew it.
Dun, dun, dun.
Right.
And this is actually going to be the first time where I don't mention somebody's name, just because of the work that I do.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we just gonna keep it real cute.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a particular musician that I have followed for years and have loved his work with various artists and such.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going live on Instagram. And I said, oh, let me hop on here. He's probably going to give some really dope tips on production and whatever. I'm such a fan. Let me check him out. And I get on there and he's talking about if you wear mask and social distance yourself, you're essentially trash and you have no faith in God and just lack faith all in general. And then you're just afraid. And this is what they want to keep us in fear. If I die, let me die.
Ain't that a song? If I die, let me die in the army of the Lord, right?
Yes.
Is that what's happening right now?
It's like one of the tags off of I'm a Soldier. And if I die, let me die.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, if I die, let me die. If I perish, let me perish.
Bruh.
And I'm like, okay, so you just go and perish and leave your family when you don't have to, but okay. And so he's going in, and then it just segued into more madness. So the what I'm going to talk about briefly is the fact that we do not live in a black and white world. We live in the gray area of life.
Right.
All of us.
Right.
Things are not this or that, up or down, left or right. There's always some gray area. So I say that to say, I can be a Christian, I can be a believer, I can be whatever, and still feel anxiety, still feel stressed, still feel scared. Because I am a multifaceted person with an entire brain in my skull. And because of that brain that I have in my head, I am able to feel an entire gamut of emotions from sun up to sundown. I can be prayerful and hopeful that my dad makes it out of this stroke and COVID situation, but I can also be scared out of my behind that he won't. They are not mutually exclusive. And I really need folks to stop doing this. And I'm going to make a bold statement.
And there's just this thing called, common sense, right? So when, because here's the thing. Do you eat food? We all eat food here, right? Where does food come from? Where does food come from? It comes from this process called sowing and reaping, right? You know what I'm saying? Like what you pour into something, what you plant, that's what you're gonna get. And if you are doing things, and to me, that shows like that's science right there. Everything is based off of that concept. What it is that you do, what it is that you put your energy into, what it is that you invest your time into, like that is what you're going to end up getting. And if you don't invest time into protecting yourself from something that has proven to exist,
seriously,
you know what I'm saying? Then you don't believe in anything.
You don't believe in anything.
It's common sense. It's, you know what I mean? Like it, yeah. So I don't know, man.
I'm totally with you on that, Carrie. But this is my thing, man, with people who be sipping that Kool-Aid, man. Like, let's talk about just real quick.
That's real.
I think if you are someone who gets, and I'm going to make a bold statement here, and listen, if you're watching and you don't agree with this, that's fine. Please let me know you don't agree. I don't need you to agree with me to have a respectful dialogue and conversation about it, but I'm gonna take a step, okay? Y'all remember that Heaven's Gate cult?
Nah.
Back in the day, they had to wear the little weird haircuts and the black Nikes. And they drank it. Y'all don't remember the Heaven's Gate cult?
Wait, the Jim Jones one?
I don't know if it was Jim Jones.
Well, there's so many cults that we don't know.
There's so many cults, bruh. There's so many cults, but this one is like, bruh.
No, I know. They on some other level.
No, absolutely. But this one was really strange. It was, they had to wear specific outfits, specific haircuts, these black Nikes with the white checks, and they took a poison. They had the Kool-Aid poison.
Yeah, and they that Jim Jones joint.
Was that Jim Jones?
Yeah,
okay, all I remember was called Heaven's Gate.
Okay.
And they thought they were going to some intergalactical worlds with aliens, and they were waiting for the spaceship. And for me, the reason why it's almost not funny, because I think these folks who got a hold of this mindset and believed it, they had a lot of trauma in their lives. And this was like something that got them out of reality. And I think in a lot of these religious cults and kind of hot messness, you have some like mental illness. If you really believe that you're okay to die from a virus to
prove a point.
It's
like when they used to tell people in my church to not take their medication. Like what?
Yes, and that God was going to heal them, but they'd be dead.
Right. Because God is a mad scientist. Like, stop it. You know what I'm saying? Like, science is based off of whatever God you believe in. I promise you. Like, look into it. It's there.
Dude. It's insane to me. And I just feel like it's so irresponsible as somebody with that level of platform. And you're all these people on your live like, man, you right. I ain't think about it like that, man. Like, bruh, I can have faith that I'm not going to get this, but I can also wear my mask when I leave the house.
Exactly.
And you telling folks that they don't have enough faith and that they're going to essentially burn in hell if they sipping on the COVID Kool-Aid, bruh, what? And you're a BAN because of it.
BAN of the day. I've learned that a lot of people don't know what BAN means, family. I'm getting feedback, and I want to make sure that we all know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Here we go.
Oh, somebody is asking for what BAN is?
Yes. So I just want to make sure, every episode we want to let y'all know. It's the suckers that need to be recognized that they suckers. It's a bitch.
I love your definition, Carrie.
Like, just leave it there.
Right.
I'm be somewhat PC, I guess, but whatever, it's a bitch ass Negro. Just they don't, we just gotta call a spade, and hopefully one day they will repent and, figure themselves out.
Right. In every community, there's a fool, and there's a fool who typically votes, does things against their own self-interest, and just, or brings other people down around them. And in this case, you were given that example, Neek. And, I just think too, I just wanted to say one thing about that story. Like, I feel like the curse of misinformation and the curse of people not like fully thinking for themselves is so scary right now. Like, you're seeing it in real time. People will spout, conspiracy theories, things like that. I went into a store the other day, and there's a guy in there who's really friendly, and he always seems mad cool, and like we get along and whatever. And just as I was walking out the door this last time, he started talking about how the coronavirus is the same as the flu, and how the same number of people die of the flu as those who die of coronavirus. And I was like, man, I thought you was cool. And you know what I mean? I
it's just
thought
not
you
a
had
fact,
some
sir.
sense.
It's not a fact.
Right. And
but how many people have you known in your lifetime that has died of the flu? I'm really asking a question. How many people do you know that have died from the flu?
I know folks from pneumonia, not from flu.
Yeah, right. It progressed,
right.
And it was also other complications.
Right. But not like.
But I don't know. I only know one. Died. I only know one person though.
And how many people?
I'm just saying, but just based on the numbers, coronaviruses this year killed over 250,000 people. You know what I'm saying?
I think what about 300,000 before the end of the year?
Right. So I mean, but I'm also not gonna lie. Like, we all have the right to be suspicious because I remember watching that thing with Elon Musk. Wear a mask. Okay, I'm not. Don't go tell your mama and your friends. Carrie Joy said, "Don't wear a mask. Wear a damn mask." All right. But I know Elon Musk. He's crazy as hell. But Elon Musk supposedly took 4 tests in the same day, and some came back negative and some came back positive. And clearly, they pushing this vaccine. Don't get me wrong. I believe in vaccines, but like, we have also been guinea pigs before as Black people. And I'm like, I don't trust everything that you do, but I feel like there's a level of, you could still protect yourself and be suspicious at the same time. Like like you were saying, Mo, don't have to be either or. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And I have 0 issues with that.
Right.
0. But to make it so personal and say that you lack faith or you lack this or you lack that is when it's like, bruh, it's
that judgment.
Serious. The judgment. It's like, why does everything just have to be steeped into making you feel bad?
Right.
I can't just live. I just need to always be in a constant state of repentance and feeling bad because I'm just trash. Because I'm never going to be good enough.
Too distracted living other people's lives, man. Live your own. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Before we move on to our next segment, I just wanted to say hello to Wendy Jones. Thank you so much for coming back. It's good to see you. What's up, Auntina? I see my Auntina was watching.
What's up, y'all?
Vonette, what's up? Colby, what's up? So happy to see you guys. Happy Friday to you. Welcome.
Word.
Yeah, awesome. Thank y'all for watching.
So since no, I got you.
Okay. And since we like to hit a little negative and then add a little positive,
but we also have SIPs.
Right.
We sure do. We have SIPs, which is Sisters in Powers, which the Black Girl Magic sprinkling all over the world. And so I would love to highlight 2. We highlighted them all the time, but when they just keep doing amazing things, we just need to keep highlighting them. Regina King, just actor, producer, writer, director extraordinary.
She's doing the damn thing. Yeah.
She really is. And I have so much love for her. To see her go from 227 to where she is now has been just a beautiful life that she's leading. She got selected by People Magazine to be like Person of the Year for People Magazine because of all the work that she's doing, which is huge because mostly white folks get those accolades. And so for her to get that is really amazing. And then a shout out to Marseille Martin, who is always killing the game. Sis just got into the Guinness World Book record for her work with Little. She's the youngest Hollywood executive.
Oh, I didn't know that. I love that movie too.
Man, it was a cute, funny movie. Yeah, she made the Guinness Book of World Records, girl. For being the youngest Hollywood executive. So shout out to you, Marseille.
Shout out, Marseille. Keep doing your thing.
Role model. Her, Zendaya. What's the girl from Blackish? Yara Shahidi.
Oh yes.
Yes, Yara. Yep.
Baby life.
She was in that and I would love to talk to our guests about this too, but the movie that came out from Between the World and Me, from the memoir. She was in there as well. And so I know, it talks about, these journeys, anyway, we could get into that a little bit later. So I just wanted to give a shout out because that was beautiful. Check that out, y'all. And Yara Shahidi was in there.
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
Did you cry, Carrie? I feel like I cried absolutely. The book. I feel like I'm gonna cry.
He always has me in tears, man. Like, he just, he's so colorful with his language, but it's so clear and so real. And it's like, you know, he reminds me a lot of James Baldwin. Excuse me, actually. Yeah. So y'all should check that out. Read the book if you haven't, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and then check out the movie. I believe it's on HBO.
Yes.
So
dope. All right, y'all. Y'all ready to welcome our special guest?
Yeah.
Let me just tell you really quick how we met this phenomenal woman. A few weeks ago, Carrie, Raj, and myself had the opportunity to do a talk with Creative Mornings Denver. We had mentioned it in our last episode. And she came on. We had done our presentation, and she came on at the very end and just gave us love and told us a little bit about her story. And I honestly don't think there was a dry eye in this Zoom call. We were just like, oh my gosh, just to hear just a portion of her story. And immediately after the show was over, I reached out and said, oh my gosh, we have to have you on the show. And she was like, absolutely. And so here we are, December 4th. And I'm going to read you guys her bio. Her name is Candice Moore, a powerful international motivational speaker. For over 20 years, Candice Moore has been transforming lives, creating opportunities for communities to unite. Elegant, dynamic, and funny. A gifted storyteller, she invites you on her journey. Once living homeless and battling addiction, to speaking internationally for audiences around the world on mental wellness and defining your own worth. Off the clock, she demonstrates gratitude for the exquisite life she has been given by mentoring women, volunteering at shelters and correctional facilities to carry a message of hope. Recently united with her daughter, who found her after 25 years, a loving mother of 2 cats, she continues to open her heart and be a safe space to those in need. Welcome to the SIP, the extraordinary Miss Candice Moore.
Welcome. Yes, welcome, lady.
Thank you so much. This has been great listening to everyone and giving people the right link.
I know, right? I hope they found it. Found it. Welcome into the space.
Now I was like texting to the very second. I was like, okay.
Right. Yeah. Well, we are excited to have you. It's been so when we got a chance to meet you and hear from you that day, your story was just so incredible, and so we're just grateful you said yes and you had time to talk with us.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. When I logged on, I was actually going to the Creative Mornings Los Angeles at 9. And when I was registering, I saw the profile for your trio, and I was like, oh, I have to log on to Denver. And and Monique, of course, I bought your CD free because that instrumental is everything. I believe in supporting fellow artists. I believe in supporting anyone who is creating projects of worth that shift my spirit towards life.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it.
It's important. I love it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Because you can play this.
Thank you.
Yes,
well, I'd love to start this off with the question of the day. Carrie, what you got for us today?
Y'all ready? Okay. So
I don't know.
This one came from the date night category. All right. And Candice, you inspired me with this because I was watching some of your videos, and I felt like in one of your videos you were kind of encouraging people to date themselves. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. Just the way you said that. But if thinking about ourselves, thinking about who we are, right? What is one thing that you love, but you don't really need?
About yourself, or
what is one thing that you love, but you don't need it?
What is one thing I love about? I mean, I'm so amazing and awesome and captivating.
Hey!
Wow!
Yes.
Love.
Well, I'll tell you, and it was based on a recent experience. I love that I've been given a gift of communication, the gift of articulating in a way that compels others to want to be involved and want to take action. I love that. What I don't need is the sarcasm that sometimes, if I am not spiritually fit, may come with it. So I want to just bring light to the table, not light with a hint of spanking, which has
right. Right.
That's a good one.
Keep your hands to
That
yourself.
is a good
You
one.
heard it from Candice.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What are some things what do you maybe have that you don't need? What do you like splurge on?
What do I splurge? The pandemic has really changed a lot of things. Usually I'm splurging if I'm frustrated and I'm looking for a quick fix. So I will go and buy just clothes. I don't need more. I mean, I'm good. Yeah.
I got you.
That's a good one.
What about y'all?
You go, Raj.
Listen, sis, the way my shoe addiction is set up, right?
I know. That's probably gonna be mine too.
You and them Adidas, Monique.
Right. What happened was I was looking at them sales,
Yeah, it needs to be fresh though. I have a lot of headphones and I don't need them. I just like different options, working out or I don't know, whatever. Yes, but let's count our blessings, right? Count.
Right.
Right.
By Joe Pokey single. That's my question of the day. Yeah.
I think that is you called me out because that's what I was really gonna say because you really know me.
The Adidas. I don't your shoe girl. That's why I'm like, that's amazing.
Oh, but see, the reason why I only keep it to where I have it now is because I have a small closet. But then I'll need more shoes to fill my closet. So I don't need
put them under your bed.
Right.
I don't need more Adidas. Yeah. That was a good question, Carrie. Thank you.
Gotta get to know ourselves,
That's
Thank
right.
you.
All right, let's jump right into this, Candice. Please, since this is our first time really meeting you.
Right.
I would love to just know who Candice Moore is. Who is Candice Moore? Where are you from? All that good stuff.
Yeah, so I am from Los Angeles, born and raised. I've had the opportunity to travel a great deal for, the last 23, 24 years now, just looking for ways to be of service. And I am someone who believes in overcoming shame. I believe that it is a topic that we simply don't talk about enough. And as a direct result of us not talking about it, you have adults walking around playing dress up, but they are driven by a lot of fears, a lot of secrets. And so my objective in the workshops I do, I started my company last year. I was in corporate sales for my entire career. And parallel with that, I was also volunteering. It says on my website, I've always volunteered. I've always looked for ways to be of service, because when my life came together after being on the streets and strung out, there's a lot of preconceived ideas of what someone like me is and how someone like me thinks, how someone like me lives.
Right.
And so what I found when my life came together and I stopped drinking, drugging, doing anything that would affect me from my neck up, when that shifted for me, what happened, because those experiences, while I don't live in that realm, they will never go away. They will never go away. And so what I learned is it's awesome that my life has come together, that I have people that I love beyond words in my life. I mentor some women that just fill my heart. You understand what I mean? What I know is that the solution is not in my attire. The solution is not in my bank account. The solution is not in what I'm driving. And so while I was closing deals, large deals, because I'm good at what I do, understand? So while I'm closing deals and I'm taking my clients to the company's private suite and we're going to these dinners and these, I never for 1 second stopped doing the other things I do, which I now get to do full time, corporate social responsibility programs, talking about diversity, inclusion, and equity, because I am a Black lesbian woman, right? And there is no shame about that. So I don't lead saying, hi, I'm Candice, I'm a lesbian, but if you ask me, I'm certainly going to tell you. And, I just want to be a part of the solution. And again, that's a part of how my calendar ended up happening. My daughter, Serenity, found me after she was almost 26 years old. When she found me. And I had been, celebrating her every year for a long time. And so there's a lot of extreme violence in my family. So when I found out I was pregnant, I wasn't just on the streets homeless. My mother had been sent to prison for murdering my 8-year-old cousin. So it was in the media for a long time. And the reason I share this is a part of me starting this company is I wanted to not have any shame, any secrecy. There's always the fear of what if someone finds out. So because I've spoken for a long time in forums that directly dealt with the violence, dealt with the shame, dealt with the mental challenges we go through, I find out I'm pregnant. I used to work for a record label. Now I'm on the streets. What am I going to do? What am I doing? My mother's in the news. What do you do with that? What do you do with that? And so, having my daughter, her not coming home with me, my life coming together, but all of that information is still here. Here, and it's still here. And so I'm so grateful that as my life came together, I was introduced to organizations that taught me how to go and find ways to give back. Because in giving back, I started to feel good about myself. I knew that the stuff could be here one day and then maybe not the next. Right? We're in a pandemic. There are people whose fortunes have been completely reversed because of this pandemic. So you have to understand what your truth is, who you are, how you want to show up with or without any of that. And so I started celebrating my daughter a long time ago. And every year I would go into prayer. Another word I couldn't use in my former career, right? Because when you were talking about corporate stuff, they just want facts and figures and you are expected to exceed your goal. And that's wonderful. That's great. We have to keep companies thriving. Yes. But I went into prayer and I prayed to the power of healing, love, and light. That is the power I pray to. And I would every month go into prayer. How can I honor my daughter Serenity this year? And my hope was when she found me, I just didn't want her to be embarrassed.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And so she, you do it every year and it's automatic. Everyone in my life, every country I've spoken in knows that I have a daughter, knows the circumstances. And I just remember wondering if she's ever going to actually find me. And I was prepared to celebrate her for the rest of her life, whether she found me or not. But when she did, right, I was driving to speak at an event and I checked my ancestry.com email. It said I had a message and I see it's from Serenity and I got excited. But if you're familiar with Ancestry, and I only joined to 23andMe and Ancestry to find my daughter. Ancestry, though, introduce you to your 8th cousin, your 9th cousin all day, every day. And I thought,
right.
Don't need any more family. Thank you. So and I meant that with love. When I got Serenity, I got excited. And then I was like, oh, no, it's probably just my 8th cousin. And so I opened it and the message said, it says we are related and that you are my mom. And I was at a red light. I thought I was just going to check it quickly. I couldn't even drive my car. And so, meeting my daughter, we talked that night and she asked me questions. We met the next day at her church. And I loved that. This young woman wanted me to meet her at her church. She had called her pastor and told her she had found me. And she asked me a lot of questions. She asked me the questions you knew she would ask me. And because of the life I've built over these almost 26 years, because of the way I live, because I talk about my past, not from a place of shame, but from a place of strength. I work with organizations to ensure the safety of children since our system failed my family, right? I work with women who have come from the type of background I've come from. I work with women who have never even seen the type of background I come from. And we have one thing in common, that we want to mend, we want to heal. And so when my daughter asked me questions, I was able to answer her without holding my head down.
Right.
Yes.
And then she told me that I was a grandmother just that quick.
Wow.
So my granddaughter is beautiful. And I'm not saying that because I'm her grandmother. I mean, like, you're just like, oh my God, she's adorable. She's 2 years old. And so finally I got to throw a party with my daughter. the first time in my life. It was right as COVID was starting because her birthday is March 14th. And so this is really like, because she came in my life at February 1st. I said, oh, every year I celebrate you and we're going to have a party. She said, I don't really celebrate my birthday. I said, oh, no, Missy, we're going to
I've been partying for you the last 20 years.
Like everyone benefited. I threw a party at Chuck E. Cheese one year for my daughter. I invited 35 of my friends, 73 people came, and we just had like bags and bags. I'm talking like bags of gifts, every type of gift you can imagine. Yeah. It is important for me. And the reason I talk about shame so much is because when you have something that you just feel you can't tell anyone, you just feel icky, when you're standing next to someone else, you never quite feel as tall. And a degree won't give that to you. A job won't give that. You got to go clean out the inside in order to get to that space of freedom. We are talking about freedom. So my daughter told me 3 months after I met her, she called me and we would talk all the time, but she said, I was thinking about you. And I said, yeah, and I love that, like my daughter thinking about me. And she said, you should do a motivational calendar. And I remember just being so touched, but I'm like, oh, no, it's like, because you don't see yourself as someone else sees you, even though, my life is service. I was so touched. And a few months later, I was in the shower, and that's one of my meditation spots. I'm going to tell you.
Girl,
love it.
That's right. Yes. What stimulates my spirit, it is water, cleansing. And so in that stillness, in the silence, this voice, I know that voice to be spirit, the power of healing, love, and life, told me to do a motivational calendar. And I said, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that. Because isn't that always what we say? Fear.
I couldn't possibly.
First,
yeah.
And so spirit just quietly responded, 12 inspirations. I am a writer. And I said, okay. And so going through that process of, getting still and in meditation to see, okay, what resonates in my spirit that I want to convey. The fact that my daughter felt I could bring light to the lives of others after knowing all that she knows about our family, what we're talking about right now, and I don't want to continue dominating the conversation, but it's so important, is we are talking about breaking the cycle.
Absolutely.
Breaking the cycle. And, I produced the Serenity 2021 calendar. I have a few sitting right here that I'll show you in a minute. When I created this calendar and shared it with my daughter, I said, remember what you told me? And she goes, write a book. I said, no, not that, something else. She goes, I can't remember. And I said, okay, I'll show you when it's finished. And so it's named after her, the Serenity 2021 calendar. And it's been so supported. It has sold out twice. Currently in the third printing. Every month has an inspiration. Every month. And what way to honor my daughter, man.
Absolutely.
So it's just, it's a great period for me right now, because if you would have told me when I was in the alleys out there that I would be publishing a motivational calendar every month to fill your life with light, to have a new beginning, to take new action.
Absolutely.
I would have not talked to you. I wouldn't have trusted you. I would have thought you had an ulterior motive. And so I have grown into my own set of values.
Yes.
Someone that my daughter can be proud of, and it means everything to me.
I'm gonna sip to that before
I'm sipping on water.
I know. I know.
Yes. Shout out to water.
Shout out to water. Absolutely.
Wow. Thank you so much for just being here and for sharing and just talking to you. That was an absolute word. You don't know how you blessed my entire life and soul right now. For me, I'm looking at you and you just embody strength and persistence. When you were at your lowest and you talk about shame, I can relate to feeling shamed. Yeah. When you talk about the shame and not living in the shame anymore, how did you overcome the shame? Because shame is so deep. It's so deeply rooted that it seems like it's something that kind of can take over. what was like your first steps, or like what was the turning point in your life where you're like, I'm not going to live in this shame anymore? And like, what were the things that you did? What was your family support like? Because I mean, the story you shared about your mom, like,
so it's
like how very heavy. So yeah, that's
and that's a lifetime of work. I'm going to tell you, the first thing I did is I had to put down all the stuff I was using. And I was grateful that I started meeting groups of people who lived it. It's funny, when you are done with something, you are always introduced to something else. And I was in a state of readiness.
Yes.
I was in a state of readiness. I was in a state of openness. And I was so broken from having lived like I lived that, I started meeting people. I'm going to just say they were mentors, and they were living a different way of life. And they started inviting me, just like my friends who were getting loaded. And I'm not talking about sipping. I'm talking about tearing your life down when I talk about my friends. So just as I had people inviting me to live a way that just took from me, I started being invited to look for ways to give back. And that is how I began to overcome shame. I've always been a writer. So I write, there's a thing called the morning pages. Every morning, I just stream of consciousness. I write 3 pages off the back in the morning before I look at my phone, before I
wow.
I do that to clear the clutter.
That's a good practice.
I had to begin finding environments that were safe for me to talk about what happened. My father's a retired pimp, my mother's a murderer, and so when you come from that, I had success. I worked for one of the largest publications for a number of years, was super successful, won awards. They never knew. They never knew, but I knew. Right. And if you ask me, I would never say, I have no idea. I don't live in the, I am what happened to me.
Right.
Anything about my life, I will always tell you, because I know for a fact that I worked alongside people who had their own trauma. You could see it in the behaviors. And so how I've overcome shame is I have aligned myself with organizations whose sole purpose deals with the very trauma I've experienced. It was important for me to go into a space where I could make it useful and say, I've been there too.
Right.
I understand that, not hide it and act like it never happened.
Right.
Because that means it'll come up when I'm in a relationship. If I don't deal with the shame, it's me, you, and my shame.
That's right.
Oh yes.
And shame always wants a second helping. I can tell you that. It's been one act at a time. I've taken one action at a time to build my spirit, because I was really devastated, especially when I would be in a work environment, a successful company, and you're asking me things like, do you have any kids? Right? That was years. And I have my cats, because I've always had, now it's Sasha and Bianca, it was Petra and Cher, but I knew I wanted to be able to say, yes, I'm a mom too, but I wasn't. And I will tell you that I met my daughter's adopted mom, and she is amazing. She is amazing. And I asked Serenity if I said, I want to meet her. I want to say hi to her. And so I bought her a gift, and I bought her a God box. And I said, I just want to thank you. Thank you for loving my daughter all of these years. Thank you for keeping my daughter safe. I came from a background where kids shouldn't be exposed to some of the things that happened. And I asked my daughter, what her childhood was like. It was beautiful. I could not have given her that. And so the way I overcome shame is by being willing to talk about what's happened, to take the power out of it. But I'm not sharing it for shock value. I'm sharing it to say there's a solution. The solution is be willing to talk to someone who can walk you through taking some actions to counteract that. When you come from where I come from, I always say this: either I'm going to sit in the corner and cry, or I'm going to stand up.
That's right.
But standing is a process.
Right.
You're a little wobbly at first. I had to grow into the principles that I lived my life by. I had to grow into the value system I have. It's not an overnight matter. And I think so many of us in our society today, we want it right now. If it's not right now, you want to do it. You got to be willing to work for it again and again and again. Show up for yourself. Fight for your life.
You reminded me of a quote from Audre Lorde's A Litany for Survival. The last line says, it's better for me to speak knowing that I was never meant to survive. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And to leave your mark anyway. You know what I mean? To tell your story anyway. And what I always tell my students is that talking about your history, talking about where you come from, it's an act of solidarity. We don't communicate with each other anymore. And, being able to understand that we are not in this alone helps us break down barriers to build beautiful things, right? Rather than the carceral, the destructive things that we have built over time. You know what I'm saying? But we don't even talk to each other and we're not honest with each other, And so it just reminded me of all of that. And it's beautiful to see it practiced, right? And I hope it's inspiring people. It's inspiring me, and I know it's inspiring people. So yes, that's the whole word.
A whole word. I think it's safe to say, Carrie and Raj, that when we do finally have our SIP retreat, when this is all done, that Miss Candice Moore will be
absolutely.
Oh yes.
Ooh, I love retreat.
A lot of people wearing Jamaica and just getting our entire lives.
It's funny how the language changes, isn't it? As we continue to grow and develop, as we continue to step into our truth, the language I use now is not the language I used to use. And I thought I was well-spoken. We get so caught up in who we think we are, and how we, but I use words now like loyalty, honor.
Radical.
Remember the thing we're talking about, radical.
Radical.
Right?
Yeah,
really living in that and redefining what success looks like. Success for me is living a life that when my daughter found me, she was not ashamed of me.
Right.
And my company is getting off the ground. I really wanted to hone the focus. I want to talk about things that matter.
Right.
I want to talk about things that matter because there's another woman who hasn't said anything, but she's listening.
Exactly.
You are not whatever happened to you.
Exactly.
You decide what you want to do. But when you decide, you must commit to taking the actions to get there. No one's going to do it for you. You can't make me happy. Remember Jerry Maguire? You guys?
Yes.
I just look good. But
no, girl.
Jerry Maguire, you remember that line everyone started saying, "You complete me."
You complete me.
They love that line.
Yes.
Complete me. That is a fallacy. It's cute, but it's not true.
Right.
I am whole. I am divine.
Amen.
You can only complement what is already here.
Amen.
And so it is my responsibility to do the work so that I know what I bring to the table. I don't just bring that stuff. I bring someone who's loyal to the people that I love.
Right.
They know they can count on me. My daughter knows that I love her. There's not a doubt in her mind. She knows that I will be there for her and my granddaughter. And that for me is everything.
Could I ask you, because what I love about you, not just your zest and your poise and your confidence, and you're very regal and graceful. And I wanted to know what was it? How did you get here? What was your trigger that made you say, I'm going to go? Because to look at you now, we wouldn't know your story unless you shared it, right? What was that impetus moment that made you say, you know what, let me turn this around? Because you said you had thrown it all away, but what was the spark that changed you?
I was down at MacArthur Park, and that's an area in Los Angeles that's like Skid Row. And it hadn't started out there. And I just was drinking all the time to blot out who I had become, and it wasn't working anymore. When you have already thrown everything away, and then there was the all the things that had happened, had my daughter, she's not in my life, so like all of it, and drinking wasn't fixing it. And I remember going into a rehab, and that rehab was just to dry out. It was just to I was living on the streets. I was homeless, so it was to be able to get my mind clear, because you can't think when you're worried if someone's going to harm you. And so it was that. I didn't think anything was going to come of it, but I started meeting, people again, because the rehabs were active in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I began meeting people whose purpose was everything was about rebuilding. And so that moment, they just call it a bottom. I hit a bottom, and that just meant that I couldn't do it anymore. And I didn't know what else was going to happen from then. I just knew that this was done. And so I have been taught that I can never stop anything without replacing it with something of equal or greater value.
Right.
And so me being of service is the greater value, because I felt so worthless. I felt so used up that I didn't think I would be able to be so I am. The minute they don't care about all the other stuff when you're helping someone, they just appreciate your time.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And so you go into a shelter, and especially, I would say I was there, and not from here, just talking to them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to stay, you don't have to.
Right.
You want to be somewhere else, you can. And so it's really just been, this is, over 20 plus years of doing what I do. When I first began, there was a lot of fear that was driving me out, because I was so afraid any moment I'm going to go back to it. This is going to go away. Anytime I started having success, it's not going to last. And,
right.
So really addressing those self-defeating narratives and being willing to put new language. I'm very cognizant of the way I speak to myself. Oh my God, you're so stupid. How could you do that? That will solve anything. We're not doing it. I've already done that.
Right.
So it's just been one action at a time, really. One action at a time.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you for the question.
I have another question for you. You seem to be, and I can just account for it right now, you are inspiring to us. And you are inspiring our listeners right now. Everybody is commenting, and they're just like really into this conversation. Who are your greatest inspirations? What inspires you every day?
My stepmom passed 4 years ago. She was one of my. My daughter coming back into my life. She wasn't here for that, and my stepmom was with me throughout all of it. She, her and my dad were together before he went down a different path, and so she was just a good woman. And they hadn't been together for years, but she treated me like I was her daughter. She showed up for me. And I remember her telling me once, she was angry at me years before, it was in and out of jail. It was just a bad deal. And so now I'm sober. I don't live like that anymore. And it was years after that. And I said, why are you so mad at me? I lied to you before. Like what? And she said, because I was asking her for money to fuel my habit. But I would tell her it was for my daughter, and I hadn't seen her. I didn't even know where she was. And so this is 11 years after all that happened. And my stepmom said, I was angry with you because I thought you were going to be reunited with your daughter. If I had known you weren't seeing her, I would have taken her so she could be in your life. Wow. And I just started crying. Wow. I didn't think there was anyone who would do something so huge for me. So all these years, I could have been with my daughter, but I was so defending the life that I was living. And so in that moment, and so, when I lost her 4 years ago, I lost my faith. I lost everything. I really did. And I had to rebuild again. But I'm so grateful that I'm already conditioned to live this life. So when I think of inspirations, my stepmom, the women I mentor, right? The women I mentor, let's talk about them. These women come to me with their own sets of desires, and we do a clearing of anything that's blocking them from being who they say they want to be. They are challenged. They don't always like it. It's work. You want to change. It's not like, oh my God, it's okay. No. It's going to be uncomfortable. And so the fact that they continue to suit up and show up for their lives, for the life they say they want. That's, you know, my inspiration. I mean, there's some noteworthy people, but I want to talk about the people in my life. My friend, this calendar selling of those primarily have been my community of people they have my back. There are people who say, "Oh, girl, I got you." Where are they?
Yeah. Right.
So when people say, "I got you," to me, they have me.
Right.
Those are my inspirations. People who, whether they have money or not, you'll never know, because that's not they don't lead with their title. They lead with, how can I be of service? How can I help heal? Miss Lawn at Covenant House. Covenant House is a shelter that helps trafficked and homeless youth, 18 to 24. Miss Lawn has been there for over 30 years, helping these young women or young girls and boys, their children, coming off the streets in traffic situations. That's my inspiration. She doesn't make a lot of money, so it's not for that. It's for the love of, I know that if I help your life, you're going to touch someone else's life. Everything is a ripple effect. Just like negativity is a ripple effect, so is being positive.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Those are my inspirations. The people who take a stand, who don't just sit silently when something doesn't agree with them, say this is not okay.
Right.
Yes.
Those are my inspirations, those people. But for sure, my stepmom. My stepmom was everything. Yeah.
God bless her, and God bless you. And you had actually answered another question I was going to ask you about your mentoring, and so when you mentioned that answered that question. How blessed these girls are that they can talk to you and confide in you. Seriously,
they're blessed when they're not getting
have you as an advocate.
Yes, to have you as an advocate.
Someone, I mean, it doesn't always feel good, you know.
Right.
So in that moment, it's important that we have established the trust and respect that they know I love them and I'm rooting for them.
Right.
If I didn't love them, I would say do whatever, whenever, but that's not why they're coming to me. They're coming to me because you say you want something different. I need you to take different actions. Don't run your mouth. Take different actions.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Speaking to what you're saying, Candice, I had just one question. I was watching one of your snippets, your mental health snippets about you know, being authentic to yourself, right? And not being a people pleaser. And so you had said some things in there. You encourage people to ask themselves questions, to ask themselves about their likes and their dislikes. And that's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like, it felt like you were kind of encouraging people to date themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't really take time a lot, you know, to get to know us. We're always trying to figure out how do we need to present. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to just getting to know who we actually are. And you said, you know, this life is not about the money that we have or the degrees that we have, but when you are in the stillness of your own space and it's just you, are you enough for yourself?
Yeah. And look at you remembering what I said.
Well, I wrote it down. I had to
research over here.
Okay. I wanted to get it right. You know, and it spoke to me though, and it was so beautiful. And I just wanted, you know, and you've been encouraging, I think, myself and so many people this entire time to do that. And I was wondering, from your perspective, right? Are people listening to this message? Do you feel like people are grasping it? Do you see that shift happening?
I do. I see it happening. You know, I was taught a long time ago. I hope you're done, because you're freezing and then you stop talking. Were you done?
Yes, you froze too. So I am done.
Okay. All right. So I was taught a long time ago to not judge someone because I see them at this moment. I don't know where they started from. And so, you know, they may have made tremendous strides. It doesn't have to look like I think it should look, but it needs to look like they want it to look. And if it doesn't, what are they willing to do in order to create that? So I definitely feel there is a shift. I mean, I do not want to have a political conversation. I'm going to speak in broad terms. I'm going to speak in broad terms. So we had people in a position of power that were not inspiring unity. And the response to that was there were all these marches for love.
Mm-hmm.
There were countries that started standing with us for love.
Yes, for
and
sure.
so that, for me, that's a bigger scale. But when we do microcosms, it's the same thing.
Yes.
Those people, when you see people marching, those are everyday people that are getting up and that are going to work and they're showing up. And so, you know, a lot of it was we were spiritually asleep to a certain degree. And this, it shocked, like you had to take a stand. You could no longer just, I don't really, I don't know.
Yeah.
You had to do something. So for sure, things are changing. And I'm always going to continue challenging. The purpose of me doing those snippets was COVID started. I was talking to my old boss at LA Times, and he suggested, I was telling him what I was doing to get through, because I didn't know what was going to happen with my company. I'm like, I just started. What am I going to do? And I said, I'm just going to call 3 people a day. I'm going to let them know I love them. I'm going to write a gratitude list. He goes, you should share that. And so I just, want to share things that I feel are useful, are relevant, and I do believe they are useful. I also have my own Facebook page, and people comment or send me private messages. So it's just, you change one person's life, you change the world.
You're talking about the ripple effect, and sometimes it's just it's easy to to lose a little bit of hope, to get a little more jaded, and so I felt like when I was going through those videos, I was like, man, this is transformative, like right here. Like, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to church not one more day in my life. You know what I mean? I'm good. And so I highly encourage people to check them out. If you're just looking for a little bit of guidance in life, please check out one of these snippets from Candice.
Yeah, I just keep it light. More Grace is my company, more-grace, and I prayed on that, and I'm not referring to organized religion. I'm referring to the spiritual practice that is my life. Of really becoming one with the universe and being able to hear and to respond, being able to be honest about what's going on in my spirit, as opposed to saying, it doesn't matter, it's okay, I'll get through it. What's happening? Something doesn't feel right. I engage in a way that doesn't honor me. How can I fix it? Right? Because there's sweeping things under the rug that are crazy.
Right.
We're crazy. All this, we got all these lumps under the carpet. What's that under your carpet? I'm crazy. So, it's like, let me just continue the clearing space. I'm really excited that I got to. I was like so nervous, like, I get to podcast. I gave people the wrong link. I'm like,
you are a blessing.
It's totally fine.
I just have one more question for you, and I just want to say, I hope that people go back and look up your writings around releasing shame as well, because everything that you just said about just with us in general holding shame, but I think we as women of color, we can hold on to a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. Some of it's self-induced and some of it is, from what we've experienced. Right. But my question to you is, what do you do now for self-care, right? Now that you're in this in this time of your life, like what, because you talked about the shower and a little bit of meditation, but like, what are your go-to self-care routines?
Working out actually is self-care for me. Culver City Stairs is like my place. It's a community of like-minded individuals. It's very important for me to do things that speak to my body, that honor my body. And, because of COVID, I can no longer volunteer at the organizations I show up for. So, I do monetary donations now, but I also will go and make food and pass it out because I got to do something. So for me, that is self-care. Being a service is self-care. And I could have brought my blanket. The other thing is, the more traditional is, I've been making a blanket for 3 years. And wait, it's a huge blanket. I want to say that, but I bought so much yarn. I just said, you know what? Until I run out of yarn, I'm going to make the blanket. So sometimes I won't touch this blanket for, I don't know, maybe a few months. And then I'll do it again. So I meditate in the morning, and I also started meditating in the evening again. So I will Insight Timer, it's a meditation app. I'll listen to some instrumentals on Insight Timer, and I just crochet. I'm reading a book called Hood Feminism. Things that
I'm reading Hood Feminism.
Yeah, I was gonna ask what books you're reading, but yes, Hood Feminism. Okay.
Hood Feminism. And So You Want to Write. My mentor gave me that, and that is, when I was going through creating the calendar, I had a fit of anger. There was a ruling, again, not going to get into the politics, but a ruling that I didn't agree with, and I was very angry, and and so I could not write, because when you are creating an inspirational calendar,
yes,
you are holding like deep resentment, that doesn't work.
Right.
And so I can't just put some words on like, this is honoring my daughter, this calendar. I needed to like the truth of who I am and how I feel. And so I had to do some writing, and I write, why I'm upset. And
I was gonna say, did you write that's not the blah 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 blah?
Right. I get all of that out because it's important to be honest. I'm not walking on water. So I just am getting it all out, And then I ask myself, what are 3 acts of forgiveness? 3 is my number. Like, that's always going to be my thing. What are 3 acts of forgiveness that I can demonstrate? Because if I'm waiting for this person to change, I'm going to be pissed off for a long time. Right. So I can start today, and I resumed, the calendar, but I like coloring and coloring books. And that's one of my videos. I talk about that, not the adult coloring that people love. I'm like, oh my God, it's like 48 million lines.
There's so many. I agree.
A butterfly. I want a flower, a butterfly.
Right.
So that's my self-care. My cats will, not, Sasha doesn't really care for it, but Bianca, my youngest cat, she'll join in and play with the crayon. So if she kicks the crayon over, I'll color with it, even if it doesn't go, because I'm a good mom. And, I just do things that quiet my spirit. It's important. Yeah.
I gotta have her. She's got to be on Black Girl.
Oh, definitely. I was already saying that.
Candice, the next time you meditate, my brother introduced me to this song called "Try Jesus," and it says, "You guys know what I'm talking about." It says, "Try Jesus, don't try me, because you will catch these hands."
You know what I'm saying?
But it's a beautiful song, and actually, I'm gonna meditate to it the next time. So I just want to suggest that for everybody.
That's Toby in Wigway, right?
Yes, that's Toby in Wigway. Yep.
Yes.
That's quite the meditation. Oh, I do want to share something really quickly, because it was one of the questions, that we as people of color hold a lot of shame. Nothing breaks my heart more when I come across someone who is Black or brown and they wish they were a different color.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing breaks my heart more. And then there's this conception that every Black person wants to be another color. That's not the truth. I've not just loved being a Black woman, but I've loved being a dark-skinned Black woman. Like, that's always been my truth. And so when I come across, I've mentored people that have struggled with that. And my direction was, I want you to look up the contribution that we have made.
Yes.
Because we are not, and if you don't feel we've made a significant enough of a contribution, then you start making a contribution, right?
That part.
And, we define what our worth is. We define what beauty is. I'm never going to ask someone who feels ugly if I'm pretty.
Girl.
Right.
Yeah. And so when I say feeling ugly, I'm not talking aesthetics. I'm talking about spiritual malnutrition. Anytime I have to weigh in on what someone is or isn't, then I am coming from a place of deficit. So I need to first build that so that I can have a change in perception. I celebrate who I am. And again, my past, those were circumstances. I create my life. I create my life. Yeah. So I'm actually developing a workshop that I'll be rolling out. It's navigating we're opening, we're shutting down, we're opening, we're shutting down.
Right.
But I feel it's so important. So I just have to figure out how, because I like to do interactive workshops. I like to hear people. So I feel there's energy, when you're doing that, creating a really safe space. And so I need to figure out how I want to do that virtually because I feel it's just so needed.
All I want to say is, in 5 to 10 years, when you become like Oprah, can we just not forget about us? Can we just still come and like speak to you, please? You are phenomenal.
Even close to like an Oprah. You know what? I'm just striving to be a better me, and make sure that my daughter and I have the future that we want, since we missed so many years. We missed a lot of years, and some days that hurts. Right now I'm in a good space, it's good, but there's some days that I just think of all that I lost. Right. And while I've had the opportunity to do a lot of things, I didn't see her as a teenager. You know what I mean? When she's going on the first date, those type of things. And so for that reason and so many others, it's important for me to continue doing this right here, so that maybe another mother who's struggling gets to see her children and be present.
Yes.
To be present as her children are growing up, Wow.
Amen. Thank you so
Amen. I know. I'm like,
Thank you. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you so much. You actually answered another question I was going to ask, if you had anything coming up that you'd want anybody to know about. Now, I know you said you're getting ready to work on this kind of virtual space that you're kind of creating. Is there anything else that you want to share with our listeners and viewers?
Yep. I want to share that you need to get your calendar.
Yes.
Get your calendar. Stop playing.
Your calendar awaits, and there's a dedication to my daughter. It's only in the 3rd printing. It wasn't in the 1st. So yeah, start your 2021 off in power, affirming your truth.
Come on, Empower.
Yes.
What you say? Will you sign
I'm loud, but I ain't got no crew child.
No, I love it.
Will you sign my calendar if I
put it? Okay.
Yes, and we will all be purchasing one.
We will all be purchasing a calendar.
And I would love it signed as well.
I would love to. It would be an honor for me. And thank you for today. I've had a tremendous time. I really have. When I saw you guys and you were bringing your energy that you're bringing today, I was like, okay, let me Instagram. Yeah, that's how I live. When I connect with an energy, a spirit, then I like to connect and really nurture those relationships. It's important.
Absolutely.
And you brought such good energy to that call too. Right when you said what you said, it was like, come through, sister, and share your story. So we appreciate you being there as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And you are our sister empowered this week, Candice. Thank you so much for blessing us tonight. Thank you everyone for watching. You were getting so much love in the comments. If you don't know.
Much love.
I hadn't looked. Thank you so much.
All right. Podcast.com on Instagram. It's @podcast. And don't forget, we need at least 5 patrons a week, y'all. So go to our Patreon page /the podcast. I'll throw it right here in the comments. And we'll see you next time. Mwah.
Yes. Peace and love, y'all.
Have a great weekend, everybody. And thank you to Candice for being here today.
You are beautiful. Thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you. God bless everybody.